What is up, folks? Welcome to another modern video. Today we're going to be taking another look at this whole Thought-Knot Seer Amulet Titan idea. This, of course, comes to you thanks to Charles5. Thank you so much, Charles, for the dono. And I am actually very intrigued by this concept. Like, we actually played one league with the deck, and it worked out really well in the matchups where you would expect it to, namely stuff like creativity, right? Where the disruption from Thought-Knot Seer became extremely valuable. And it just kind of lined up well, right? Like it just lined up well within the deck itself. It lined up well within the curve, right? Like having access to 4 explore, so we can go explore into Thought-Knot Seer on turn 3 was something that came up multiple times. And it also is a way of bridging the gap and clearing the way for the Primeval Titan to come down and then close things out. So I was surprised by how effective it was. I was also surprised by how easy it was to cast. Like I was able to basically every single time I was able to cast Thought-Knots without any problem whatsoever. So I'm going to be like a little bit greedier, though not too much really. So now in this current list that we're looking at right here, we still have a pretty healthy amount of colorless sources, but in the original one I had just like a bunch of maybe a little bit too many crumbling vestiges, to be honest. So right now we're looking at 14 colorless sources. This is all just colorless sources that come into play untapped, or they untapped thanks to Vestige. It untaps with Amulet, of course. So we should be able to cast Thought-Knot whenever we want to without too much trouble. But you know, maybe I don't know, maybe something needs to change. Now, one thing that has happened since I played that previous league, that's when I saw for the first time Elves in Amulet, and then I wanted to give it a shot myself. Because of that, you're gonna see that the Beast Withins have crawled up into my sideboard as an answer to specifically Elves, because that card has actually seen a very significant uptick overall in the format, to the point where there are decks being kind of built around it. We actually saw like a red-white mid-range deck, you know, that I was aiming to kind of ramp towards Elves, and then obviously you have access to like doubling your solid triggers and stuff like that. And then the Elementals deck has established itself in the format in a pretty I don't want to say dominant, but it is now a force in the metagame, right? Like it has established itself as one of the decks in the format, and that deck really tries to take advantage of Elves. So because of that, you're gonna see that I'm expecting to see Beast Within on most of my deck lists from now on. I'm interested in trying out the approach that Mistaken has been going with the Oblivion Stones, but I'll get to that eventually. I think it looks a little bit clunky to me. Like it does look a little bit clunky. I'm not a believer in the O Stone just yet. The theory is sound, but I'm not a believer on it just yet. We kind of got just like a solid list overall. Dismembers, Colossus goes to the sideboard because we have to make room for Thought-Knots. Obviously we have no Dryads because those were the cards that were cut to make room for the Thought-Knots. And then, you know, Forces, Endurance, Beast Within, Tracker, Engineered Explosives, and then Boseiju and Bujuga Bog in the sideboard. So that's how we're going to be structuring our deck. We are going to be playing through a modern league, so if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to support my content, you can do it for free whenever you use Mana Traders and TGG Players services by using the links that you will find in the description of the video down below. You will also find the Mana Traders 10% discount code in the description of the video as well. And if you would like to support my content directly, you can do so by joining my Patreon. You can again find the link in the description over there, and you can also make donations just like this one. I can play any deck list of your choice for any donation of $30 or more, and I also offer coaching if that's something you're interested in, taking your game to the next level. That's gonna be it. We're gonna be playing a league with Thought-Knot Amulet. Alright, so what are we looking at here? Turn 1 Gracer, turn 2 Explore. Any colorless land gives us turn 3 Thought-Knot, and then we already have a Titan in hand and 5 mana to get towards there. Yeah, I like this. One thing that I was considering when building the deck was trying to make room for a castle. I think we probably just can't, unfortunately. I don't think that we really have that flexibility in the mana, but it's definitely worth thinking about at least. Okay, turn 1 Gracer, opponent moves to 5. Yeesh. It could be something like Tron where it just doesn't matter, so there's that. Basic Forest into Heritage Druid. Wow, that's a deck that I have not seen in a minute. Okay, so let's explore first, see what's up. And Azusa. Yeah, so that means Titan next turn. So we're just going to pass the turn back. And yep, should be casting the Primeval Titan the following turn, unless my opponent has a Thoughtseize or something. Overgrown Tomb. Okay, War Master. That's most certainly not good enough. Very, very much not good enough. Here's an Azusa. We're just gonna make some Primeval Titan mana. And we do have like a little bit of a choice to make here, and that is whether we are interested in disrupting my opponent or whether I'm interested in developing my mana and just like smashing my opponent's face. And I think I'm going to, because like what I can do is I can get a Crumbling Vestige plus a bounce land, and I can just TKS my opponent. Is that better than just swinging for 6? Swinging for 6 develops my mana further. I mean, how, if I take their best card, how can they ever win though? Although I guess they probably just can't win regardless, so. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for Vestige actually. Let's go for Vestige plus Growth Chamber here. And let's just play a Thought-Knot. So bounce, Vestige, play TKS, take your best card. Interesting. Huh, so I guess my opponent would have kind of been able to go off here. I'm going to... If I take the Chord... Yeah, I think I take the Chord. Because if I don't take the Chord, my opponent can go Chord for 1, get a dude, play another dude, get an extra dude from War Master. Tyvar is very threatening, however. I'm not super scared of the Realm Walker, but I am kind of scared of these 2 cards, so it's just a matter. I think I'm going to go for the Chord. I think we just go for the Chord. And now we should be able to set up lethal for next turn, because we have Azusa, so we should be able to, if not set up actual lethal, we can at least force my opponent to chump block, and the second they chump block, they're just dead, so. Alright, so Dismembers, we like. Engineered Explosives, probably we like as well. And that's kind of it. I don't think I'm interested in any of the other cards. There's an argument for Cultivator, but I don't think I buy it. We're gonna be on the draw, so I don't think I really care about the Thought-Knot as much on the draw. Can cut a Cavern. And actually, Thought-Knot plays around Force of Vigor very nicely. Huh, so that's interesting. Because Thought-Knot represents a way that I can bridge the gap, and I can not so much depend on my opponent having a way to like kill my opponent quickly, and I don't play into Force of Vigor in such a big way. So an interesting consideration for sure. I think on the play I'm gonna be a lot more excited about it. I feel like on the draw we just kind of have to attempt to do our thing. This is an easy mulligan. It's effectively an O-lander. Ship it back, and this is a turn. Yeah, okay. So this is this hand gets super hosed by Force of Vigor, but I think it's fine because it actually has a path towards turn 3 Primeval Titan. Like if I find a Titan, I have turn 3 lethal. Turn 1 Heritage Druid. Good. That's a good draw. I'm just gonna play into Force here if my opponent has it. Well, actually that stop makes me believe that they really have it, so I'm just gonna take it easy. Like, there's actually no need for me to play the Amulet. I only get punished if I top deck exactly Azusa, but I also get less punished if they do have the, what's his name? The Force. 2 mana for a War Master. That's fine. I think I'm dismembering the War Master instead of the Heritage Druid. I feel like it represents a bigger threat. So let's just kill this right now. Summoner's Pact. Okay. I can play into Force now. I guess I still don't have to though. I can just wait until next turn. So I'm just going to name a Giant here and just pass the turn back. We can steal Thought-Knot next turn. And I can just hold on to this Amulet for as long as I can. Leaf Crowned Visionary, okay. Okay, take 2. That's fine. So float a mana, get my Amulet. It's not a good draw, but it's fine. Oh, we're kind of saving up this Amulet. We're just going to drop a 4/4, which my opponent's not necessarily going to be able to attack through particularly easily. So, mix some mana, bounce a land, Thought-Knot you. What do you got? Okay, so I guess I could have just won the game, but I still think it's good. So I think I want to take out the Leaf Crown, the Visionary. Pass the turn back. Now we're going to have double Amulet next turn. We have multiple draws that win us the game on the spot. We can draw. My opponent can't attack too, which is nice. But we can draw like a Susa, Gracer, another Summoner's Pact. All of those cards win the game on the spot. Explore also wins the game on the spot. Okay. Opponent gets to play Elves and draw a card. That's fine. They do draw. Now they have 3 mana. Plus Gilflith Palace, which enters tapped because they play their only Elf. That's funny. So they can't attack. Mycosynth Gardens. That's funny. Okay. Well, this is a way to play around force, I guess. Play this. Do that. If they force me now, they pitch their core, and they have no board state, so it feels fine. And now we pass the turn, and next turn we have Extremely Lethal, which is the best kind of lethal, by the way. Extremely Lethal is far and away the best kind of lethal. Definitely not attacking here. I don't think there's too much to be gained. And my life total matters a lot more than my opponent's, because my opponent's is not going to matter. They're going to be they're either going to be dead or they're not going to be dead. Okay, 6 mana. Definitely scary. What are we going to do? Chord seems fun for 3. I doubt there's too much they can do for 3. Rexage is fine. We still have 2 amulets. If they have Rexage plus Force and green card, that's another story. That is a big deal. But just the Chord for Rexage here. They just spend their entire turn and they didn't really achieve too much. Okay. This means we actually can't kill them, which is very... We can still smash for a bunch, which seems reasonable. Borders Garrison, Slayer Stronghold. And we stack our triggers, float our mana. And I guess I'm just gonna target TKS so that I can actually attack with it. Here's some damage. And Boseiju doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna go T-West, another green source. We definitely need another green source so we don't just die. So it's good when we don't just die. We could get Mycosynth Gardens, I guess, as a way to get green. Nah. Let's just get Boseiju. Let's just get Boseiju. So here, swing for a bunch. Opponent just takes it. Play Expedition Map, say go. Alright. Let's see what we got, opponent. They're gonna have to really go off here, which does not seem particularly likely. Okay. Tyvar is a start, but that's their last card, though. They're out of cards. They have, what, 4 mana here? Because they can tap the elf 4 mana. Okay. Keep drawing cards. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. -2, they can get back War Master, but still doesn't seem like enough. Yep. Alright, sweet. Alright, so this hand is funny. Turn 3 Thought-Knot, turn 4 Thought-Knot. I'm going to keep it. It's funny enough to work. So let's go turn 1, Boseiju go. Turn 2, we're going to go Stronghold into Vesuva. And I guess Vesuva is going to copy the Stronghold. So turn 1, Boseiju go. Because I kind of want to hold on to the Crumbling Vestige, because we may find something like an Amulet. So okay, I can copy my opponent's rating pool. That's nice. Very kind of them. Ignoble Hierarch. Are we playing against Infect? Or some sort of band nonsense? Explore. Well, now we can just go Vestige into Gracer, which is probably better. So let's just go Vestige for green. Make green mana, play Gracer, Vesuva my opponent. Boom. Here we go. Decent turn 2. Can we get to a point where we're just like Mycosynth gardening my Thought-Knot Seer so I can like start attacking them or something? Yeah, my opponent's playing Infect. Like they're telegraphing it by playing the basic the new Phyrexian basics or whatever. Very on theme. Very on theme. Second Hierarch. And a Venerated Rot Priest. Okay. Unclear whether I should be scared by that or not. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Thought-Knot you. What you got over there, OP? My opponent was not expecting this, for sure. Okay. So I guess I have to take this Spells Guide, right? Because they can target anything else, and then like they can start suiting up their stuff. So I take the Spells Guide. They end up with Blossoming Defense and Scale Up, which is fine. Like neither the Venerated Rot Priest does not trample, so if I find the land, we get to Titan. If I don't find the land, but like okay, that's actually scary now. That is actually scary because now they get to like double up on triggers. The thing is that it's actually not that good for them because we just block. Oh yeah, this is great. Gracer. So now even if we don't find land, we're guaranteed to at least be able to take the scale up. Okay. Thought-Knot you. Yep. Just a random Thought-Knot beatdown. I think we take Blossoming Defense. And then we play this, and I guess we're gonna bounce the Vesuva. I think we attack. Get in for 4. There's no way they can deal enough damage. So I think this Rot Priest right now it's worse than if they were playing just like any normal infect creature. Because now this scale up, even if I take it, it only represents 3 poison. As opposed to it representing, 9 or actually lethal. So yeah, I think that taking the Spells Guide on that turn was most definitely the right draw. The right choice. But now they scale up one of these bad boys, which is fine. They swing, I just take 8. And I'm chilling. Like, this is just fine. We take 1 more poison now. Yeah, this is not looking very good. I mean, at least this is not the matchup, right? This is not the matchup for this kind of card. This is for like when your opponent's interacting with you and you kind of want to, like, you can't attack on stuff like that. And this allows you to actually close the game out. But right here, like, this is, I feel like Amulet always really, really struggled against Infect. Like, it historically one of Amulet's worst matchups. But if the Infect players are going to be playing this game plan as opposed to just doing like the normal classic, here's my stuff, you're dead, then that actively helps us. So I think I'm going to get Boros Garrison and Sunhome here. And then the plan is going to be bounce Vestige. We can still pay for Pact here. Vesuva's going to copy Boros. And now we should be able to pay for Pact. And we can still swing, which is nice. So both Thought-Knots are going to get in there. Opponent probably takes it. Maybe they chomp block. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, again, like, I don't have to block these Venerated Rot Priests. This is great. I literally don't care that these Rot Priests are attacking me. Like, it just doesn't matter. And because we're playing 2 Crumbling Vestiges, we can actually both Stronghold and double strike the Titan, which is nice. Okay. So now I go up to 5 here. The problem is if they attack... actually... Because I can just block... And if I block, they are forced to use a pump spell here. I go up to 7. Yeah, this is actually a fine block, I think, because my opponent's going to be forced to chomp next turn. Oh, they just trade. Okay. Seems fine to me. Like, now we... Yeah, now we just win. Opponent's forced to block here. So we pay for Pact. 1, 2, 3, 4. Say yes. Find a Sousa. So I guess what we can do is we can just haste Azusa and attack with all of it, forcing 2 chumps. So that should be pretty good. Make green, play Azusa, play extra land, haste Azusa. Swing with everything. You have to block 2 things. The random Azusa beatdown coming in handy. The extremely random Azusa beatdown for the win. Opponent packs it in. They realize they have no outs, and that's correct. Thought-Knot coming in real clutch right there. No questions. Wow, that was a really good display for our friend the Thought-Knot. And this is the kind of matchup that I expect gets massively better with us having access to Thought-Knot. Because even if we had had access to Dryad, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because then we would have started, doming my opponent. Notably, Rot Priest does not trigger off of abilities. It only triggers off of spells. So we can just like start Valakuting my opponent's things, and it's no big deal. Like it actually kills them, and we don't take any poison. So now the question is, how do we want to sideboard? I think I want to cut Ursa Saga. I'm definitely expecting some number of forces. I think we can let Expedition Map go in this matchup, and I'm definitely interested in the Thought-Knots. I'm gonna cut and explore. Considering my opponent's playing Spellskite, and they're probably also playing Inkmoths and stuff, there's an argument for playing Force. But I feel like it gets to a point where you have just diminishing returns. This hand's obviously terrible, so ship it. This hand is, I guess, reasonable. What's my plan here? We do get to play Saga on one, but then we have to... We can go Saga Amulet. We get destroyed by Force. It's probably what we have to do, however. Inkmoth Nexus. Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm definitely playing into that, because now I get to turn to Thought-Knot, so... If they have Force here, I lose the game, but I think it's very, very much worth it. The upside is definitely there. Alright, so opponent going for like a YOLO kill? Wow, okay. Inkmoth gets in there, turn 2, for 1 point of poison. Okay, float a mana, play my land, Force now. It's 3 mana. Here's a Grazer. Okay, so they definitely don't have Force. We have established that. Now the question is, I think I'm going to just bounce the Saga here. As awkward as that may be. Here is Thought-Knot Seer. Also Grazer blocks the Inkmoth. Okay, Bloated Contaminator. Trample Toxic 1 or whatever is the combat to a player you probably afraid. Wow, so many clunky cards my opponent's got going on over there. Yep, I'll take... actually... I don't think the Contaminator matters, because it's only Toxic 1. So I think we just take out the Might of Volcrosa. I think we take out the Might. So now Grazer can block this Inkmoth if we want to, which is nice. If my opponent wants to go Bloated Contaminator things, that's okay with me. Okay. It's Primeval Titan. So let's play this Ursa Saga. And obviously I'm not going to attack here. The good thing is that this Bloated Contaminator deals only 2 Infect to me, so I don't have to block it ever, which is very nice. Pendelhaven. So now we get to just block the Inkmoth, force my opponent to use one of their spells. We know they have Mutagenic and Vines. Now, if this were literally any other creature, my opponent would be in much better shape. Yeah, of course take it. This doesn't do anything. Do you want to proliferate my Saga token, maybe, opponent? Yep, we take it. Just doesn't do anything. Boo-hoo, we took 4. Now what? Glistener Elf. Now that's a threatening card. So now we have perfect info, and we can actually pact for Azusa. Do we need to pact for Azusa? So this is 3 mana, pact for Azusa, play this, play this, play this. Yeah, we're fine. And we do indeed have perfect information. So let's pact for Azusa and play Azusa. Play Boros Garrison, bounce, Rot Farm, bounce, Rot Farm, replay, Rot Farm. Now, this is an interesting spot. This is a very interesting spot. And the question is, what level do you think my opponent is in? Because if my opponent is... If they've been playing Infect for a while, they know that if I go for haste, I lose the game. Because I would need to Boros Garrison to copy my own... I would need to get Vesuva to copy my own Boros Garrison, and that would require me to not have a second green source. So if I actually go for it here, I run the risk that if my opponent is savvy, like if they played this matchup before, like way back when the Infect deck was popular, then they can Vines my Primeval Titan, and notably Vines does not grant hexproof. It says target creature can be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. So if they Vines my Primeval Titan, as I activate as I try to give it haste with Stronghold, I will actually the activation will fizzle. And then what's going to happen is I will just die to my pact, because I was forced to get Vesuva copying Boros Garrison in order to do this thing. So because of that, I'm going to assume my opponent is going to make the correct play. So that being the case, the right thing for me to do here is to get a green source so that I can pay for pact, float my Vestige mana here. And actually, I can bounce Garrison. That seems better. Yeah, that seems much better. So bounce Garrison, play Gracer, and now we get to play Ursa Saga, and we actually get to deploy these Thought-Knot Seer. But yes, this is the kind of play that you can kind of sometimes get away with at FNM, like your opponent just they're new, they just picked up Infect, and you just go for it and you just go nuts. But if you're playing against I don't know, like in the PT, this is the right play at the PT. You know what I'm saying? Like this is if you know that your opponent knows what's up, this is the right play. I mean, I think we're gonna win anyway, so that's nice, because like my opponent can't push any damage through, and now we can just TKS the Vines. That's the +4/+4, which is the only thing that allows the Bloated Contaminator to attack through primetime. And now my opponent's gonna be in a really awkward spot where they need to like dump a bunch of cards in order for them to do anything at all, and then we just beat them down with like random Thought-Knots and stuff. So yeah, I think actually Thought-Knot gets in there. No, actually it doesn't, because they can just Pendlehaven plus Mutagenic Growth. Then my opponent would get to draw a card. It's just not. Although I guess I can just take the damage from the Contaminator once again. Like it just doesn't matter. I have to block the Glistener Elf, however, and potentially also the Inkmoth. All right, opponent goes for it. Inkmoth Nexus. What else? Scale up. Okay. +2/+0? There's no way that was the best line they could come up with. This is a very, very easy block. I have to say I'm not sold on this version of Infect. I do think it's interesting, but I think that it's gonna have like a very different subset of pros and cons compared to like the regular Infect that we're used to with like, just Glistener Elf, Light Agents and stuff. So this, like the new Toxic cards, just don't work well with Infect. They just don't, because like the amount of damage that you're getting through is exactly the same. Like my life total doesn't matter at all, because this is never gonna kill me. And when they proliferate, like this is only dealing me at maximum 2 Infect every turn. Like it's, even though it's a 4/4, it's just so much worse than a Blighted Agent could ever be. So like it just allows me to play the game and to leverage my life total and my Infect life total in a very, very effective way. So it just doesn't put pressure. Like it doesn't work with what the rest of the deck is trying to do in terms of like it just doesn't interact well with pump spells. The other one interacts better with pump spells. I still don't think. I mean, I still doubt that it's worth it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too high on this like new version of Infect. I think it's quite lackluster. So now we just double strike Primetime, that is 6, and then they just take lethal from. So we block here. This is 12, and then they block Thought-Knot. They take 16, 17 exactly. We can also go just get Boseiju for good measure, and this is just fine. Like this just doesn't matter. Like there's no blocks that my opponent can make here that save them. So I do wonder if this form of Infect is better against the meta, however. Like, if you're getting paired against stuff like Fury and whatnot, it's a lot easier to protect a Bloated Contaminator than to protect a Glistener Elf, right? So I do wonder if, like, this is overall like more effective against the meta at large, but it's definitely a lot worse against a deck like Amulet. Like I'm honestly not. I don't think I'm even scared from this deck. I mean, I guess they can still do the infect thing if they go like turn 1 Glistener Elf and you don't have the Gracer on turn 1. Like they can still do the infect thing. So like, I am somewhat scared, but like historically, infect was straight up one of Amulet's worst matchups, and this can't be worse than Scam. You know, go to blockers. Not the best block, but not that it matters either. GG's 2-0. Okay, so this hand has a lot of mana, but none of it is green. I guess Gardens filters for green, but requires more lands in order to be able to do it. So this is a lot of mana that doesn't really do anything and doesn't get me anywhere, and it's not even the colors that I need it to be. So this hand is better. I'm on the play, so I can just bottom this basic forest. And I can go turn 3 Azusa, turn 4 Thought-Knot, or potentially Primetime, so this is fine. This hand loses to a variety of decks, not gonna lie, but it has the potential to... Like, I can get under something like Creativity or Inspiring Vantage, dude. That's one I've not seen in a minute. Are we playing against Burn? We are playing against Burn, okay. That's a deck that I have not seen in a minute. Swift Spear, turn 2. That's an interesting one. So that was my opponent's top deck. Okay, so let's go Vestige first. Make some green. Play Azusa. Play Gardens. Play Garrison. Bounced Vestige. So now we can actually block the Swift Spear if we want to. We don't have Radiant Fountain, so there's there's a decent amount of value in blocking. Looks like my opponent's got Searing Blaze, so we're not gonna get to block. We're just gonna bear the question, like, do we play Thought-Knot to get rid of one of my opponent's burn spells, or do I just slam Primetime? Huh, it's interesting. I think I'm gonna play Primeval Titan, make green mana, play Primetime. Because if they have 2 1-mana burn spells, I lose. Or like 2 instant speed burn spells, I guess. So I'm just gonna go Saga. Yeah, this was exactly the kind of hand that could punish my anemic start. This is a very good matchup for us, so I'm not super crazy worried about it. But yeah, our start did not line up well against specifically Burn. Riftbolt Pass? There's no way, really? Riftbolt Pass is the play. Okay, so this can be 12 damage. We have double Amulet if we want it. We can make some blockers, swing for 12. We're at a virtual 6. Swift Spears don't really do anything. I think we lead on Thought-Knot. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for that. I think we're going to pay like this. Because we're going to need to make 2 3/3s. I guess they're going to be 4/4s. Alright, Bordos Charm. So we lose to any burn spell they could have in hand. Okay, so we have to take Helix. Now we play Amulet. We play Growth Chamber. Do we actually play Growth Chamber right now? I guess there's no reason for me to copy. It grows the Saga tokens. That's the only reason to do it. So let's just bounce here. And I think we just attack and make a couple of constructs. So swing, and we get... I mean, we have lethal next turn regardless. We have to dodge. So my opponent needs to draw exactly a creature for us to win this. So I think we get Gardens and a bounce land. Yep. Bounce Vestige. Like it just doesn't matter. We're going to have obnoxious amounts of... So Riftbolt down to 2. We gotta dodge land. We gotta dodge land, and we gotta dodge... what's his name here? We gotta dodge any burn spell. I guess if they draw a 2-mana burn spell, we win. They found the land. They're gonna go for style points. Okay. Make a construct. And take lethal. Look at me saving my construct. Right on time. Alright, game number 2. We like Boseiju, and we like Engineered Explosives. That's it. Don't really care for anything else. We can cut Cavern of Souls and Actually, I don't think I even care about engineering explosives. They just bring in Boseiju for Cavern, and I'm just gonna aim to do our thing. Yeah, this is like the same hand that we had in the previous game, where we're just like slightly too slow. This is better because it has Grazer. So we're gonna keep this, and I think we're gonna bottom Sunhome. So we're gonna go turn 1, ETB tapped T-West. Turn 2, we're gonna play Grazer. It should be nice for blocking dudes. So this Swift Spear is only really gonna deal us 1 point of damage, which is somewhat acceptable. This is such a big deal in my opinion. Like the fact that Mike's in Gardens just filters mana it's such a big deal for the cards playability. I mean, not that the card would not be great otherwise. It's just that the fact that this filters mana means that you can just play 4 copies and be okay with it. Whereas if it did not filter mana, then we would need to actually be a lot more careful. We could maybe play 2 copies or something like that, but not much more than that. And here we're just gonna kill them, I guess. So play Asusa. We take 2, but this is the last point of damage that we're gonna be taking, which is nice. So Vesuva, copy that. Bounce Teleria West and Name Giant. Pass the turn. So here we can block both creatures. I doubt my opponent's gonna be able to kill both of my creatures this way. 2 Suspended Reef Bolt. Okay. I block. No attacks. Coward. Okay. Here's prime time. I'm gonna say yes. We're gonna get Teleria West. Actually, let's get Ursa Saga and Growth Chamber. And then we're going to bounce Rot Farm, replay it as a Growth Chamber, bounce this, and then play Gruul Turf, bounce Gardens, replay Gardens. Now we send it back. And now we should be able to raise my opponent back fairly easily here. We're going to be taking 6 here, down to 11. Although I guess my opponent could have something like double Boros Charm, plus 1 extra thing. They're shooting the prime time. Yeah, we win. We win. Great. Yep. Opponent's taking a substantial amount of damage here off of their Eidolon. Skewer the critics. That's a beefy Swift Spear, Jesus. Alright, so we're taking 8 here. Well, maybe. Well, they're out of cards. So maybe I called it too early, but I'm not sure. So here I'm at a virtual 4. So I'm at a virtual 4, so I lose to... What's his name? I lose to Boros Charm. Here's prime time. 3, 5, 6, 7. Oops, 1 too many. Here's prime time. Say yes. Let's get Crumbling Vestige and another Teleria West. And Vestige allows me to use Cavern of Souls to get random 1/1. Making a 1/1 is decent here. Not only decent, but also necessary. Opponent cracks Sunbathed Canyon. So if they find exactly Boros Charm or double 1 mana burn spell, we lose. But they didn't. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to be on the draw. And again, like, both of my hands were kind of clunky, right? Like, they were not particularly great, but it looked like my opponents were just like a little bit clunkier than mine. Definitely not very high on the whole, you know, just using using double Rift Bolt, like 6 point of burn to kill my Primeval Titan. I mean, maybe my opponent just had to do it in that spot because they were guaranteeing like some swing with the Swift Seer. I feel like if they had sent all of that damage to my face as opposed to my creatures, they would have been in better shape. At least they would have had more. I would have been like at less life total, meaning that I would have had like, they would have had better draw steps, right? Like they would have been in a situation where they have better top decks. This hand seems fine. Like not insane or anything, but like just turn 1 Grazer is such a big deal. We also have Amulet, we also have the Titan, so this hand ticks many boxes, which is nice. Here's Grazer. Play Stronghold, pass the turn back. Turn 1, no place. Huh. Okay. Have Eidolon. Well, Asusa is an incredible draw, right? Asusa is probably like my best draw right there. Because we take 2, sure, but like now we have everything set up for next turn. And it also, like, it's just another blocker, and like it just, Azusa just does very many good things for me here. Okay, Azusa down. Like, it also gained 3 life. That's very good. So if opponent taps out here, Thought-Knot Seer has been revealed. That's healed. So now we're just gonna raise my opponent back. So we're gonna take 2 points, and then 2 more points, and then we're gonna deal them a healthy amount. Prime time, yes. Boros Vesuva, Boros copy Stronghold, haste prime. Is this bounce Stronghold? I think that's not the case. I think I'm supposed to bounce Garrison here. We have enough to pay for packs, so that's not worrisome. Opponent just packs it in. Okay, I guess their hand was not particularly great. Awesome. All right. Well, see you next round. Oh man, nothing like the Umori matchup. This hand's great though. I'm gonna keep it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for the Umori matchup. We unfortunately cannot really Thought-Knot on turn 2. Okay, so this is probably gonna be like a discard spell deck. Yeah. So this is like mono sorceries. It's gonna be basically mono black control. And like the entire deck is just a bunch of sorceries. This seems okay. Obviously they take the Amulet, that's fine. Another Thought-Knot is okay. They have only sorcery, so we don't have to worry about like instant speed removal, which is very nice. Opponent fetches Overgrown Tomb, 2 mana for Profane Tutor. Okay. Another Saga is interesting. I don't think we need another Saga, so I'm just gonna play that land and say go. So now next turn we're gonna be able to play Azusa and play Thought-Knot in the same turn, which is nice. Let's see what my opponent's got here. If they have something like Necromentia, they kind of have to use it on Thought-Knot Seer, which is kind of good for me. Search your library for a card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control. Okay, so they're gonna tutor for a 3-drop. Gonna get Urborg. And now we untap, float a mana. Here's my Amulet. Here is Azusa. Play Azusa. I'm gonna play another Saga, and then we're just another Thought-Knot. Here I can develop my mana or just hold on to... I think I want to develop my mana, so I'm just gonna bounce this strong. I imagine they're gonna tutor for some sort of removal. I think I'm gonna take Dark Petition, but yeah. So Urborg, Blood Chief's Thirst, and like some unknown here. We do have already another Thought-Knot ready to go. I assume they're gonna get a Sweeper, which honestly seems fine. They sweep the board, kill Azusa, kill TKS, draw a card, I play another Thought-Knot. And again, at any given point, if we find prime time, okay, so they just thirst. 4 mana to kill my Thought-Knot seems acceptable. Now, okay, so we can go. I guess we can make a construct here, which is nice. So let's go Stronghold, Sunhome, Vesuva, copy Sanctuary, and we're going to just bounce the Vesuva here. Thought-Knot you, take the Dark Petition, swing for 1. So they have Cabal Coffer, so that their mana engine is online, but they kind of need to find an answer to my board. And next turn we can either find they drew a 7-drop. Damn, that sucks. Oh no, they get Umori and they play it. Okay, that's beatable. All right, so now we're gonna we can get bounce land. So let's make a construct on end step because it's free. We untap. Okay, so we drew Expedition Map. So we're gonna get a lot of mana here. So float a mana. This is 3 mana to map. We map and crack. We get Growth Chamber, and I think we should have enough to lethal. So float a colorless mana. Haven't really done the math. Crack map. see, make Growth Chamber, play Growth Chamber. This is 4 mana right here. 4 mana, transmute for Summoner's Back. Now we can, opponent blocks here. If we double strike Titan, yeah, they just die. Okay, so we have to, we drew Vesuva, Stronghold, and Sunhome somehow. So I guess we can go Growth Chamber, Bounce Sanctuary. That's gonna be 5 mana, 6, leave white floating. And that's kind of a roundabout way to do it. It's gonna be 16, 20. Yeah, this is good. All right, so we're fine here. And yeah, my opponent they chose to get their engine online as opposed to answering my board. Like, I think they would have been potentially in better shape if they had gotten Damnation to kill Azusa and TKS. So bounce here, Summoner's Pact, Primeval Titan, Prime Time, leave white floating, say yes, opponent's dead. All right, sorceries, mono sorceries. So we're gonna want Tireless Tracker, we're gonna want Cultivator Colossus. The reason for this obviously is because of specifically the card, what's his name? Necromentia. Specifically because of the card Necromentia. That's why we want all of them. After that, Boseiju is kind of interesting. Beast Within is also kind of interesting, since usually the way their deck works, if you destroy Urborg, you really hinder their mana, like you really hurt them. So you can stop their entire engine on its tracks very, very quickly. So I think Beast Within is fine. So we have 5 cuts to make. We can cut a couple of Gracers. I think Amulet is fine. They don't really have that many ways of interacting with this. Probably just Blast Zone. What else? I think Saga's fine. We can cut a Cavern. I'm honestly considering cutting a Primeval Titan, but that's just crazy. That's just nonsense. I think I'm just gonna cut 1 Explore. No, actually, I don't think I can cut Explore. So let's just cut 3, the 3rd Gracer. Explorer is just so much better than Gracer overall. I do like Thought-Knots, maybe a little bit less on the play, but I do think they're still pretty solid. I guess I'm just gonna cut the 4th Thought-Knot Seer. It's between the 4th Thought-Knot Seer or the Cultivator. I think that the Singleton Cultivator has a pretty significant upside over the Thought-Knot, in that after my opponent destroys my stuff, after they Necromentia my Titans, I still have access to something that I can tutor for with Summoner's Pact. Speaking of, so if I keep this hand, I'm not gonna keep. It's just too slow. This hand is kind of better, so let's bottom Cultivator. It's not great, but it's better than the first hand, I think. They pass the turn straight up. Okay, so here's an Amulet. So as long as we keep hitting our land drops, like that Cavern of Souls is not a great draw, but it's just a fine draw. As long as we keep hitting our land drops, this is gonna be just. I think my opponent, if they didn't Thoughts me on 1, I think it's very, very likely that they just have Necromentia on turn 3 or turn 4, and that's why they kept their hand. Yeah, so like no plays turn 2. This to me really, really strongly signifies that my opponent's got Necromentia. Would love to find a land drop. Any land drop will do. And now if we find another land drop off the top, I mean, we're kind of going to be in business, right? Like my opponent's going to Necromentia my Prime Time, but then I get to go Tracker or Thought-Knot. I'm probably going to go Tracker plus land if I find a land instead of TKS, because I want to guarantee that I have a land drop for this Tracker. But yeah, they definitely have Necromentia. Oh, Break the Ice? Damn, I was definitely not expecting that. Well, now Necromentia is just backbreaking. Like, we probably can't be. Also, Break the Ice seems like a really bad card. I mean, obviously destroyed us there, but Jesus, they just have nothing? Just land drop go. Explore. Please give me a bounce land. Nope. Yep. 12, top 12 cards, only 3 lands. Yep. This is how we lose this, huh? Okay, so now they have 5 mana. But if I destroy the Urborg with this Beast Within, So if I find the land, I think I'm just gonna blow up the Urborg on their upkeep. Alternatively, I could like destroy Cabal Coffers. Okay, I'm just gonna concede now. We're not hitting our land drops, and we're just too far behind at this point. Even the random Umori was gonna be down, beat us down fairly quickly. Yeah, this seems fine. I'm a little bit more interested on Thought-Knot on the play, but all right, now we're on the play. Let's see if we can hit some land drops. Yeah, this hand works. This hand works. Kind of as medium as it gets, but that's exactly what we're looking for. Medium, but thus stuff is kind of what we're looking for in a hand. I wonder if we're supposed to play Growth Chamber. They showed me Break the Ice, so it's unlikely they have other forms of land destruction. Yeah, because otherwise, like Mycosynth Gardens allows me to filter, but yeah, too bad that they didn't like main phase fetch for no reason, right? Like it would have been useful for us if they had main phase search for no Urborg. Profane Tutor suspended. I think I'm going to explore here. Okay, and I guess we're gonna go T-West Vesuva. Yeah, just get my green mana on. And next turn we're gonna be able to go Tracker into land into Explore and get a couple of lands. Sylvan Scrying for Cabal Coffers. So they're gonna have up to 5 mana next turn. Inquisition is very good there. They're gonna take my Tracker. So my opponent's gonna have 6 mana next turn. They have a Tutor coming out, so I can't play into Break the Ice, so I have to go just play T-West and say go, probably. I could just play Mycosynth Gardens or like a Saga and have my opponent, like force my opponent to interact with that Saga, but I do assume that they're just going to Tutor for Necromancia, which is gonna put me in a little bit of an awkward spot. Yeah, Tracker is like, I think the only correct choice there. I could pack for another Tracker. Let's explore first. Thought-Knot. Okay. So let's go Vestige into, I think, Saga? Like if my opponent wants to overload a thingy, I think that's fine. And now we get to take one of their payoffs at least. Jesus. Gaze of Granite is interesting. Probably take Profane Tutor. Yeah. Take the Tutor there, pass the turn back. I assume they're gonna go get Necromancia, but if they Necromancia, they can't kill the Thought-Knot at least. And they're gonna... Oh, that's not true. They actually just have Cabal Coffers in hand. Oh no, this was revealed for the Sylvan Scribe, man. That's messy. That's kind of messy. So they Tutor for something that... They could have also just Tutor for another Cabal Coffers, just to have just a lot of mana. Necromancia. Okay, there you go. Oh, I should have packed it in response, I guess. Because now, I mean, I guess if they name Summoner's Pact, that's kind of fine. So they take my Prime Times. We still have access to like both of these pacts though, so we can go get Cultivator, which is nice. Also, Miss Land Drop is nice for us. I think we transmit for Boseiju and blow up their Urborg. They missed Land Drop. They missed the Land Drop, and I mean, alternatively, maybe they just have like another Urborg in hand. That's why they didn't play it, and in that case, we get super blown out. But I mean, that seems to be the play here. So transmute for Boseiju. The alternative line would be. We Boseiju Cabal Coffers. That's like the coward line. It may be the correct line, however. Because if we destroy the Urborg, we just get super punished. I think I'm going to destroy Cabal Coffers. Like, usually I'm in the business of destroying Urborg in this matchup, but like my opponent missed a land drop, and they could have tutored as well, and they didn't get it, so that makes me think that it's not at all impossible for them to have that. So now we can pact for Colossus. Potentially get a pretty significant amount of value. Okay, Beseech the Queen, so there's going to now get another Cabal Coffers. And now we get to... Another land is fine, because we're just going to pact for Colossus here. So make a colorless mana. Get an Amulet. Summoner's Pact for Cultivator Colossus. Cast Colossus. Play a land. Play a land. Play a land. And play a land. And play a land. And a land. And a land. And that seems to be enough. Alright. That was not bad at all. So, now we're gonna have some lands to stack. We definitely are interested in destroying my opponent's Cabal coffers here. We still have a land drop to give, by the way. We still have a land drop. So, float all of the mana. We can make red mana with this. We can map for... Oh, we just have lethal here. Yeah, we just have lethal. We just expedition map for Slayer Stronghold. So, float a mana, play this. Float a mana, expedition map, crack map for Slayer Stronghold. I guess might as well just play a Stronghold. Haste Colossus. Whee! Kill ya. Easy game. Nice Necromantia, opponent. Nice Necromantia. 4-0, baby. 4-0. TKS Amulet is the truth, apparently. Okay. 5-0 glory. Just a little bit away. Just a bit away. This hand is not going to give us the 5-0 we deserve, so... this hand may, actually. So, this is a turn 3 kill? Yeah, this is a turn 3 kill. So, keep this, bottom, gardens. Say okay. There's an argument for keeping the garden in case something goes badly for us, but... Spiral Bluff Canal, okay. No monkey there is huge. No monkey there is really big. Oh. Oh, Leaving End. Maybe we can beat this? We may be able to beat this, actually. I guess it depends on whether my opponent has the force or not. So we easily beat Shardless Agent. Now the question is, does my opponent have force and or do they have Violent Outburst? So that's really like the only thing that matters here. Okay. No Shardless Agent. Unfortunate. I mean, I'm still gonna play the Primeval Titan here, right? So here's an Amulet. We copy the Amulet. Play Sanctuary. Oh, I guess Subtlety also kind of owns us. Yeah, Subtlety destroys us, but not too much we can really do about that. Force of Negation, Pitching Architects. Okay. So now we pass the turn back. We still have lethal here for next turn. I guess we don't because they're gonna have like a Riverwinder and a Waker of Waves. Okay, one more cycle. Drawing an Azusa or something like that would be great. How much time do I have? Because if they have Subtlety, I lose the game. So I take 3 plus 7 plus 5 is 15. I guess I have Sunhome in hand, so I'm just going to play that out and say go. They didn't cycle last turn, so that makes me think that it's not super likely for them to have another cycler. And they also didn't have Outburst last turn, which would have been probably the best thing for them to do, right? So, okay, so I guess they drew the Outburst on the last turn. So I'm going to have to upkeep. I imagine they're going to target me with Architects. Oh, they target themselves. Okay, never mind then. So if they had targeted me, I would have been forced to like upkeep my Summoner's Pact just to shuffle. Just to take a look at a new card as opposed to the worst card of my top 3. Also, of note, this means that my Titan is just not lethal by itself. Really hoping to find Azusa here. Gracer. Okay. Well, kind of have to go for it, so just have the force. Okay. We died. Alright, so Leaving End. We like Bojugabog. We like Cultivator. We like Endurances, obviously. And that's kind of it. Boseiju is interesting because Boseiju actually interacts with Leyline of Sanctity, which is a card that Leaving End will sometimes bring against us. So that's definitely interesting. I do like the Thought-Knot, I think. Let's cut 2 Explores. And I think I'm going to cut 1 Saga to play around Force. 1 Cavern of Souls. And man. What's the last cut? I think I'm just going to cut another Saga. I'm not sure about this by any means. Definitely not sure about cutting another Saga there, particularly because it makes my Thought-Knots that much worse. I think I'm just gonna cut a Thought-Knot. And what do we got here? TKS. Man, this hand is so close but so awkward. I'm gonna ship it. This one is better, I guess. So keep this. And I think I'm gonna bottom Gracer. So play out Boseiju, play Amulet, say go. Grief kind of sucks here for us, but it's not the worst. So there's Grief. I would like to like chill on this Cavern if I can. Like if I can draw. Crumble Investors would be a great draw. Okay, Basic Forest. Okay, so I'm just gonna play this on Giant here. The reason is like if I didn't find the green source, I don't know whether I want to play this Cavern of Souls on Giant or I want to play it on Elemental to hard cast an Endurance. So that was kind of my thought there. But because I already have a second green source if I need it, like we have that covered. So now we can just play Cavern of Souls. I know if I find any bounce land, I can just play a Thought-Knot, which is nice. Okay, Cycle Riverwinder. And we're not looking super good here, to be honest. If I find a bounce land, I kind of have to slam this Thought-Knot, even though I'm not super stoked about doing it. Explore is not great. All right. Ugh. Yep. Just kind of have to develop our mana. So now our opponent has perfect information. Yeah, I'm not super loving this. The good thing is like if their hand is like a bunch of, I don't know, forces and foundation breakers, then that can be good for us. And I would have loved to have drawn like an Endurance or something like that, just a way to interact with what my opponent's doing. But now I'm just dead to a Shardless Agent here. Oh, okay, that's okay. Unless they have multiples of this, in which case that sucks. But what if I what can I draw here? Mycosynth Gardens. That kind of sucks. All right, here's a Thought-Knot. Please don't have multiple leaving end effects. Oh, none of them. Excellent, excellent. I can work with this. No cycle too. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna take the card that they can cast. And this is what I said about Leyline, right? Like, just Boseiju being able to answer Leyline, potentially. Well, now if we find the Primeval Titan, we're kind of in business. Okay. It's not the best draw, but, I mean, swing for 4, I guess. And I have to try to clock my opponent here. So, here's another Thought-Knot. And I guess, ooh, Arawara, interesting, which they did not play. Okay, so I think none of these cards really matter. I guess if they find the filter land of the top, the Sunken Ruins, they can cast this Grief. But if they do, I don't think I care. So I think I'm just gonna take the Force here. I mean, it's close. I mean, I don't think it matters that much. I'm just gonna take the Force here. So play out Boseiju, say go. So I can draw. Okay, so they found Arawara. So what I can do now is if I find any blue source, okay, I can just find Primeval Titan too. But so we have perfect information. So I guess I'm going to attack first. I imagine my opponent's gonna take it. So for 8. And I think that what my opponent's gonna do is they're going to. I mean, I'm still gonna restore Primetime because I want to bog them. But I still think what's going to happen here, my opponent's going to bounce Thought-Knot on a step and try to find a way to swipe my board. I think that's the only correct play here. So Boseiju plus Growth Chamber. Bog, sorry, plus Growth Chamber. This means that they wipe my board, but at least they don't get a bunch of power into play. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I find a land off the top, I can transmute Tolera West and cast Primeval Titan. So it's I think it's correct for me to do that. They didn't Wow, they didn't bounce out of, like that's one look. They should have 100% found bound Thought-Knot there, I think. Because they can potentially find a black source and they can like grief or whatever, but okay. Game number 3. We're on the draw now. So I think I'm gonna cut another Saga. I saw both Force and I saw the other thing. I saw a Foundation Breaker from my opponent, so that makes me really uncomfortable about having many Sagas. And I think that's gonna make room for maybe another Thought-Knot. I can just have more lands. Yeah, this seems fine. Yep. This hand looks pretty decent, I think. It's gonna be a matter of, do I want to play around Force Foundation Breaker or not? I think the answer is gonna be yes. And if that's the case, I guess I have to go Boseiju into Rot Farm. So here's Gracer, play Rot Farm. Maybe I should have played Cavern there. But if I find an Azusa, I would like to cast it, so... Okay. Growth Chamber. So here's my Boseiju, pass the turn back. Could pack for Azusa, but I don't think that's really going to do too much for me. Riverwinder, and... I feel like I really needed to find like an Endurance or something there. Starting next turn, I do have access to Endurance, but it may be too late now if they have Charlotte's Agent, and they have it. I guess it's not that great for them, because Thought-Knot kind of towers over all of these creatures. So at least we got that going on for us. So we play Thought-Knot, block Street Wraith, take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so at this point I can't beat Force anymore, so we're just going to play out this Saga. Subtlety. Yeah, that's probably good enough. If I find Amulet off the top, what happens? Definitely gonna bottom the Thought-Knot. So this is not lethal, but I can't set up lethal on the crackback either. So, you know, just got Living Ended on the draw. Yeah, even Amulet off the top wouldn't have done it. Maybe I was not supposed to play around Blood Moon, play around Force. Maybe I should have just like jammed. Yeah, maybe I should have just jammed instead of just like being cautious of that, being cautious of Force of Vigor. I just want to know if they had it. Okay, so they did have it. So they did not have something to pitch to it. So, all right, we died. If we had been on the play, would have been in better shape potentially there. Look, call me crazy or whatever, but like every time that we play this deck, it kind of just worked. So obviously, like we kind of paid a little bit of the price in that last match. There's one truth to say about the concept of, okay, let's just cut Dryads or let's just cut extra Susas in order to make room for Thought-Knot. And the cost that you're paying, which is not particularly obvious at first glance, is the fact that both Azusa's and Dryad, they synergize with your deck, right? So even though Dryad is mostly kind of looked at as a win condition, the fact that you can also allows you to actually play extra land drops is a huge deal, and it really smooths out the deck, right? Like there's a lot of play patterns that include stuff like turn 2 Dryad, and if you have 2 untapped lands, you can set up a turn 3 Titan even without an Amulet. So Dryad is not only just a threat or like a disruption piece in this, like Thought-Knot is, but it's also a piece of the puzzle. Like it's also something that synergizes what the rest of the deck is doing, and it helps make sure that we are doing our thing more reliably. So there's definitely a cost to adding a card like Thought-Knot Seer to your deck in replacement of those Dryads. However, this kind of worked out in a couple of the matchups that we played earlier, right? Like these Thought-Knots were taking some very key cards from my opponents. They were taking like removal spells that could have, you know, or like tutors that could have found a Necromantia or something of importance against the mono black deck. I disrupted my opponent in a couple of different key spots. Obviously, it didn't. Against Living End specifically doesn't quite work because they cantrip so much. So Thoughtseize effects are not particularly incredible versus Living Ends. They're okay, like you'll play them, right? But they're not necessarily like the end all be all. Like a card like Thought-Knot Seer is really effective against something like Creativity, like that style of deck. Whereas versus a deck like Living End, you know, you're taking one of their pieces, but they're just going to cycle into the living anyways. So I still think that this approach is very interesting. However, I do think that, first of all, it incentivizes you to play Counter Vestige, which is a card that I think works out really, really well in the deck overall, and that a card that I'm always looking for excuses to play. But also, it just kind of did its thing. Like, it actually does interact, and it does do something that Amulet cannot really do under normal circumstances, which is disrupting the opponent's hand, right? So, as a way to set up Primeval Titans and get rid of removals on the way there, or as a way to, stop combo decks, like, for example, Creativity, like we did in the previous league that I played with the deck. So, it's definitely something defensible. I'm not going to go ahead and say, like, oh, this is the future Amulet or anything like that, but it's not stupid. Like, it's not crazy, and I could see this being an approach that is potentially valid and under very specific circumstances, right? Like, you don't want to be just like jamming this in the blind. But yeah, I did think that my theory made sense. Like, explore being the 4 of ramp spell here, really smooth out, and it actually did allow me to Thought-Knot on turn 3 a couple of times, which was nice. So I do like my theory. I feel like my theory kind of worked out in the end in this list. One thing to keep in mind, however, is in sideboarding, we were cutting, usually the lands that we're cutting are colorless. So this is something that I actually kind of failed to identify when I was building the deck. So we do have 14 colorless sources, which game 1 means that we're very rarely going to struggle to cast Thought-Knot Seer. But in post-sideboarding games, like, if you want to be cutting like 2 Ursa Saga in a matchup in order to bring in like Boseiju or Bojuka or whatever, now that is 2 less colorless sources that are going to make it a little bit tougher for you to hard cast your Thought-Knot Seer. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, and something that I was, trying to make work to the best of my ability while sideboarding. So lots of things to keep in mind when trying to build a deck in a very, let's say, not obvious or like not stuck way. But this was a lot of fun. We almost got there on the 5-0, and we played some sweet matches of Magic. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And if you would like to support my content, Mana Traders and TCG Players are a way that you can support my content for free with no cost to you whatsoever. Whenever you use their services using the link that you will find in the description of the video down below, that it directly supports what I do here. And if you would like to support my content directly, you can do so through Patreon, through donations, any donation of $30 or more, and I can play any nonsense like the one that you just saw. Or if you're interested in coaching, that's also one of the services that I offer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.